Carlos Bueno came to Australia to pursue qualifications completing his Bachelor of Science. Have you ever heard that joke before? No. Love it. Probably inappropriate, lucky there's no children, they wouldn't get it. So in his current role at Reef Catchments, Carlos is the Senior Project Officer and Drought Hub Resilience Officer. He's facilitating change throughout the regions that aims to create long-term solutions to sustain, protect and improve the natural resources and environment within those regions. The Mackay, Whitsunday and Isaac. I've actually been to a couple of the project sites Carlos has been working on. They're phenomenal. So he's integrating a whole heap of different organisations and industries into fishways, which I know Catchment Solutions have put into some of your pasture, ponded pastures. So they're creating these great wetlands and habitat areas, but also facilitating migratory fish species through some of those existing ponded pastures that were there since the 70s or created in the 60s, you know, by generations before us. And I think you'll be nicely surprised hearing about some of the work he's doing around climate resilience, considering the topics that you brought up during our last breakout session. Carlos, welcome. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for coming along today and yesterday, the field day who had the chance to. Thanks, Gilly, for organizing a beautiful conference. It's a pleasure to be here today. I've been to a few of the soil conferences over the years, and it's a pleasure. And yeah, really, I'm a bit nervous, by the way, so when I get nervous, my accent gets worse, so bear with me. I'll try to speak really slowly and yeah, get this through. I got 20 minutes with you guys, so I wanted to share with you some of the things that I've been doing with catchments for the last 5 years. It's been a great pleasure to be living here in Mackay and working with these great producers, great landholders, and trying to improve our climate and improving our region. But I wanted to talk to you with you guys three things today that I want you to remember. We are now the shop front for the Mackay Whitsunday node, part of the T&Q Drought Hub. And I'm also working a lot of the wetlands projects that Reef Catchments works on. So if you have any questions regarding drought resilience or constructed wetlands or anything to do with that, please get in touch. Like I said, you know, I'm a long-term employee for Reef Catchments as well, so I know all the teams, I know all the projects we worked in the past and what's coming up for the near future. So get in touch if you wanted to know more about what we do. And yeah, let's move on. And before we move on, I would just like to highlight this beautiful photo here that I put for the presentation. That's a drone photo just south of Mackay at the Sandringham Wetland Complex, just behind the Max truck stop there, for who knows the local area well. And it really highlights, you know, the beautiful region we live on, the end of catchments of the Plain Basin, with, you know, Sandringham Creek in the middle there, and Sandringham and Alligator's mouth of the creek, leading to the Great Barrier Reef Lagoon. So the importance for us to be good stewardships of the land and protect, you know, our precious resources, the ecosystem services we provide, and also benefit, you know, the Great Barrier Reef Lagoon with the good quality of the water leaving the catchments. And before I move along, I also highlight to you guys that I'm using a lot of QR codes. So good thing that came out of COVID. We can put a lot of information in a little square. So hopefully at the end of, you'll receive some of those presentations in PDF, and you'll be able to get back into it. And all the websites and the resources that I'm going to mention throughout the presentation will have a QR code at the corner that you can just scan and get to the websites. And as part of that, I also would like to get your feedback. It's really important for us. We know that you guys are the early adopters. You guys always involved in the events that we do. And I really would like your feedback on some things that I'm going to be asking you here. And just as a little test, if you can just put in your internet browser there on your phones, menti.com, and enter that code in there, and you'll be able to answer a couple questions that I would like you to have some. I would like to have some feedback from you. So I think Kim Klein already answered that question there at the beginning, but if you didn't pay attention, you might have the chance again to answer a few questions there, and then we just tested to see if it's gonna work. But TNQ Drought Hub. So the drought hubs are being all through Australia. We have 8 hubs throughout the territory, and the TNQ Drought Hub was the last one to be formed early last year. And it's the Tropical North Queensland Drought Resilience Adoption and Innovation Hub, which is led by James Cook University, and it's based in Cairns. And as part of the hub, we have split it into different nodes. So Mackay Whitsunday being one of the nodes which Reef Catchments represents. We also got nodes in the Fitzroy, the Burger King, which is also managed by the NRM groups, the FBA and NQ Dry Tropics, but as well as Cape York and Southern and Northern Gulf, as well as the Wet Tropics node where James Cook is based. It's a network, like I said, of 8 hubs throughout Australia. And I would like to talk a little bit more about the nodes. So as part of the hub, it's 5 priority teams, which include drought and climate change adaptation, innovation and technology, enhancing skill and human capacity, and enhancing sustainable Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island resilience. And one that I would like to highlight for today is the land and soil management, which would like to improve land condition, pasture response, and soil health to deal with the changing climate and the next drought. So that's one of the questions that I really would like your feedback. Like we did that exercise early on today. It would be really good to go through those notes that you guys already put it in. But I have an open-ended question there. Anything that you already done to your property, or anything that you think the region really needs, or anything that you really would like to do in your land, please just put that information there for me, and that will be a great way to capture some of this feedback, and then in the next couple of years, we can try to target some of those issues as part of the Drought Hub. And then as you typing some stuff in your phone there, I just wanted to put in some of the websites that are available that you can get some more information regarding, the changing climate and what that would look like for your property in the future. One of the really good websites you can, whoever heard of this one, Northern Australian Climate Program, please raise your hand if you already heard of this one. It's a really interesting project with University of Southern Queensland leading it, in collaboration with the BOM and the UK Met Office and other partners. And they create a really interesting forecast, especially highlighted for the meat industry, but I'm sure you guys would all benefit knowing those 3-month forecasts. So for example, in the top left, you have the last newsletter that came in September highlighting the forecast for the following 3 months. And as you can see there, they already could forecast that it would had exceeding the median rainfall for a lot of Australia. As you can tell from the 3rd La Nina in a row, we're expecting to have exceeding rainfalls for the start of this wet season too. But even then, as you can see in the right side there, the Australia Combined Drought Indicator that you can also find on that website for the last 36 months. We're still in near normal rainfall, and that goes back to what Kim Clyde was saying about her property up in Habana there. Even though we got some, really good rainfalls in some of those months, way above average, seems like those rainfalls come all at once, and it's hard to keep that in the property. Another source of resource that I would like to highlight to you guys, as we already saw that graph in Geoffrey's presentation this morning, and that comes out of the Long Paddock. So Long Paddock is available since 1995, and it has lots of monthly visits, and it's a really good option to improve your decision and support tools for land management. As you can see there, a bit of the Whitsunday and the Isaac region is still partially declared in drought, even though we're coming out of the third year of La Nina. And by the way, it was our fourth consecutive La Nina was never recorded, so we're most likely going to go through a period of more dry weather coming up. Another website that I really enjoy too is Climate Helpy. It brings in all those different climate drivers, and they make little cartoons, and it makes it easy for it to understand and remember. And one of the climate drivers that I wanted to highlight to you is the Magellan-Julian oscillation. It's one that we don't hear much about it. We hear a lot about La Nina, El Nino. We hear a lot about, the SOI. But the MGO is really interesting because, especially for the summer months in our region, when you have the active MGO in full strength, we definitely, for the past couple of years that I've been following up, we definitely, when we have those forecast events, we definitely get it. And it's widespread rain, and hopefully this can lead you to a better forecast coming up. And I'll quickly play this video here, and I have a quick look at those answers, see if anyone else had a chance to put some info. So hopefully this will play.
This is the Madden-Julian oscillation, or as we like to call him, Mojo. He can have a big influence on Australia's weather and climate, especially during the warmest months of the year. Mojo runs eastward, moving a pulse of cloud and rainfall close to the equator, and travels around the Earth every 30 to 60 days. Mojo sends a wave of weather across the Indian Ocean, which can create cyclones and bring widespread rain events through parts of Australia. Scientists track these rain-making waves, providing updates on the intensity and timing of the next wave. Mojo mainly affects northern Australia, but can influence rain events further south, especially if one of Mojo's moisture waves feeds into a timely weather event down south. Mojo's behaviour is often unpredictable, with periods of moderate to strong activity followed by periods of little or no activity. But this dog is well worth keeping an eye on. This is the...
So you can have, on their website there, they have a lot of resources that you can find out, and plus the other climate drivers that affect our region. This one is Climate Service for Agriculture. Who have heard of this website? Anybody? Kim? Yeah? So it's really interesting. You can put in your location in there, and they would give you what might look like in the future for your location. So interestingly, they use a diverse number of models, around 25 different models, to try and understand what's going to happen to that locality that you put it down. For example, what's going to be the future annual rainfall. And it gives you two different climate variabilities. One, median emissions, that pink line in there, and one, business as usual with the high carbon emissions as we are putting out in the atmosphere right now, so without any reductions. So interestingly, to get from that left side graph there, that's the yearly rainfall for a certain amount of time, so around 30 years. So for example, the first column there shows the actual yearly rainfall from 61 to the 90s. And then the second bar there shows the actual rainfall we had for the years between 91 and 2020. As you can see, it's a huge variability. Some years you can have up to 2,000 mils. Some years you can have just above 800. So that could make a huge difference for you guys. And I think that huge variability coming for the near future would happen during the summer months. And as you can see in there, it's going to be really hard to know what's going to happen. It's still as variable as it is now, but could be that we will have less rain events, or they will come all at once, and you need to have those things that we've been talking a lot about today, improve your soils, improve your soil carbon content, and that water retention capability to be able to, benefit from those events. But more importantly, what I would like to highlight to you as well is the future annual heat risk. Since you guys, most of you are in the grazing business, what can that happen to the livestock? So on there you have like what's the number of days that will be equal or above 35 degrees. So as you can see there, from 91 from 61 to the 90s, we had around on average 1 day above 35 degrees for Mackay. And this had changed for that 91 to the 20 period. On average, we had 2-3 days. But that's looking like that's tending to increase with the changing climate. So if we reduce the emissions a little bit, we might have, just below five days above 35 degrees, with some years with more. But if we don't, we can, might end up with almost like 10 days for that 2016 to 2045. Those years there, we might find that some days will get real hot, as we saw with that heat wave yesterday. We had up to 33 degrees. Imagine a few more there in the livestock, the chances of more bushfires, and what can that mean for you in your property in the next generation that might take over. And again, that QR code is up there. You can just scan it and find out what's look like in your locality. And it's not just about rainfall and heat risk. It's a whole lot of different graphs that you can find out more information about your plot. And another thing that I wanted to highlight, like I mentioned, we've been working with these different wetland projects in the last few years, and I've been lucky enough to work with the treatment train project that we construct a few wetlands in the region to hold the water in the property and improve the water quality before the water leaves the property, trying to hold some of that runoff events and improve water quality. And in there, if you wanted to know more about that, DES has a really interesting website called Wetland Info, and it's a whole lot of information there regarding everything wetlands. But as part of that, they also have the treatment system options website. The left side there is like a representation of a catchment and what can you do in the catchment to improve water quality and to retain water quality on property. So if you click, for example, on one of those little activities there, you come up to the page that it's represented in that right side. I choose in the treatment wetlands, which is the treatment train constructed wetlands we replicate here in the region in a few different locations. And it just gives you an overview what the structure looks like. It gives you key considerations to make if you're planning to set up a structure like this. Planning and design, what's involved, construction and operations, what's involved for that as well, including what the permits you need to be able to put one of those in, and also more links and references to more work that's been done regarding those types of structures. And I was lucky enough to be part of a team with the Griffith University and then different NRM groups and different groups that have been working on those in that sphere. And we published this peer-reviewed paper on the cost-effectiveness of treatment wetlands. And wetlands we have here in the region, in the Brightly and Bakers Creek, came up with a really cost-effective way to reduce nitrogen leading to the Great Barrier Reef. And as part of the work we've done with Trop Water and JCU, Nathan Walton and a variety of different researchers, we create a model for the Bakers Creek treatment train. And we model the amount of nutrients and sediments that it reduced over time. So I'm going to quickly play this video here. It's a little drone footage of that structure in the right side picture. That's the constructed wetland. It's the inlet's up in the top there, and that's when we just planted the trees. So that's probably now 6-7 years old. Those trees are amazing. They shaded that area. They, create you not only have more own water viability in the farm, but you also have, connecting that to the creek. It's a fish ladder. They're improving fish habitat. It's also create that connectivity, improving the ecosystem services by those structures, and is that natural-based solution design. So we're creating a way to, improve on-farm viability. You improve the water leaving the farm. This is a 2.5 hectare structure, and it captures almost 500 hectares of cane fields. So we had a auto sampler at the inlet there and one at the outlet, and we monitored the site for 2 years. So we spent a lot of the wet season walk through there and collecting a lot of water samples and collecting a lot of grab samples as well when it wasn't running through those events. And we managed to create that model there that highlighted how important those structures can be to not only improve on-farm viability, and it could be one of those tools in your toolbox, together with improvements in soil, improvements in everything that we talked about today. That could be another tool that you can think about using in your property. Any questions?
Wow, that was awesome. You're the only one who finished on time without even any notification from me. Well done.
Carlos,
Does anyone have any questions about the presentation?
And I'm quickly gonna show that website and see what answers you guys put it on.
Great. So we've got 5 minutes now that you can put that to.
Very good. Is that gonna go up, down, no? You will have to. Yeah, I'll put it in there. Just close that, or you can copy that and put it. Ah, very good. That's amazing, guys. Let's have a look. Increased ground cover. We talked about that today. Internal fencing for rotational grazing. Rainwater tank funding. Very good. Improve soil water holding properties. Stop rainfall leaving property. Excellent. Hands-on education, workshops, field days, etc. for landholders and industry support across our region. Very good, guys. Improving water infrastructure, distribution and storage. Adding more watering points and infrastructure. Improve ground cover again, very good. Improve soil holding capacity, improve biodiversity, spot on. Water storing, including increasing soil water holding capacity. That's amazing, guys. It's a common theme there, isn't it? Improving irrigation efficiency by using low pressure irrigation via lateral sprayers, very nice. At the moment we use flood irrigation, which uses too much water, that's true, and not good for soil health. Government assists for low pressure irrigation. Thanks so much for your feedback, guys. I will make sure to take this into account. And I forgot to mention, but in my last slide there, we have all our socials. Please sign up to our newsletter. We'll keep trying to keep you guys informed through those, and including our Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn accounts. Get in touch. Stay connected, and hopefully we can work together to improve our region. Thanks so much.